Why do healthy people get diabetes? Now that's a question worth asking, and the answer might shock you. You might think you're in the clear because you eat well, exercise a little, and don't look overweight. Maybe your doctor hasn't flagged anything. Maybe your blood work came back mostly fine. Maybe people even tell you how fit you look, and yet here you are, facing prediabetes, or maybe even full-blown type 2 diabetes. How? That's what we're breaking down today. Because the truth is, habits alone don't tell the whole story. Weight alone doesn't tell the whole story. And just because someone looks healthy on the outside doesn't mean their metabolism is doing fine on the inside. You can be slim, active, and eating your veggies, and still develop insulin resistance. If this video spoke to you in any way, let me know by typing 1 in the comments. If it didn't quite land, type 0. Your feedback helps me improve and serve you better. The reasons are buried under your skin, sometimes quite literally. So let's unpack what's really going on. Chapter 1. What we think healthy looks like. We live in a world where health is often judged by how you look. You've seen it: flat stomach, toned arms, maybe even visible abs. If someone fits in their jeans and jogs a few times a week, we assume they're healthy. Blood sugar issues? That's for people who are clearly overweight, inactive, and gorging on sugar all day. Right? Wrong. That visual image of health, thin equals fit, is not only outdated, it's dangerously misleading. And it's exactly why so many seemingly healthy people get blindsided by a diabetes diagnosis. Because what's outside isn't always a clear sign of what's happening inside. Chapter 2. The hidden truth about body fat. Let's talk about fat. Not the kind you can pinch, but the kind you can't see. You might have very little fat under your skin and still be carrying excess visceral fat, the kind that wraps around your internal organs and clogs up your liver, pancreas, and intestines. Even more hidden, intramuscular fat, the stuff that gets marbled into your muscles like a ribeye steak. Sounds weird, but it's real. This internal fat doesn't always show up on the scale or in the mirror. You could be at a normal weight and still have dangerously high fat deposits where it matters most. This is why some people get diagnosed with diabetes even though they don't look overweight. Because diabetes isn't just about how much fat you carry, it's about where you carry it. Chapter 3. Skinny outside, fat inside. TOFI. There's actually a term for this. TOFI, thin outside, fat inside. You might be lean in your face, arms, legs, and still be holding a significant amount of visceral fat in your belly, around your organs, and inside your muscles. This kind of fat isn't just passive, it's metabolically active. That means it talks to your hormones. It changes how your body responds to insulin, and it can quietly push you toward type 2 diabetes, all while you're passing mirror tests. TOFI individuals often fly under the radar because their BMI, body mass index, is normal. But BMI doesn't measure internal fat. It doesn't measure your muscle-to-fat ratio. It doesn't check your liver. It just measures your height and weight. And that's not enough. So if you're a healthy person with diabetes, or if you're at risk, TOFI might be why. Chapter 4. What visceral fat does to you. Visceral fat is a sneaky enemy. It doesn't just sit there, it's biologically active. This kind of fat pumps out inflammatory substances called cytokines. These messengers interfere with the way your cells respond to insulin. They increase chronic inflammation, and they can even change the way your liver handles glucose and cholesterol. Here's what visceral fat can lead to: higher blood sugar, increased insulin resistance, more fatty liver disease, elevated triglycerides, lower HDL, good cholesterol, higher blood pressure. That combo, it's called metabolic syndrome, and it's a breeding ground for diabetes, even if your weight seems fine. This is why abdominal fat, the deep kind, is far more dangerous than fat in your hips or thighs. Chapter 5. How fat disrupts your hormones. One of the biggest myths is that fat just sits there like packing material. In reality, fat is an endocrine organ. It produces hormones, and when there's too much of it, especially around the belly, those hormones go haywire. Leptin resistance. This hormone normally tells your brain you're full. Too much visceral fat throws this signal off, leading to overeating. Adiponectin. This is supposed to improve insulin sensitivity. Visceral fat suppresses it. Cortisol, stress fat. High belly fat often comes with high cortisol, which worsens blood sugar regulation. Your hormonal system and your fat stores are in constant conversation. The more disruptive the fat, the worse the signals, and the harder it becomes to regulate blood sugar, even if you're eating clean. Chapter 6. Insulin resistance. The silent engine diabetes doesn't start with high blood sugar. It starts with insulin resistance. Your body keeps making insulin, the hormone that helps shuttle sugar from your blood into your cells. But your cells stop listening. They get desensitized, so the pancreas makes even more insulin to compensate. Eventually, that system gets overwhelmed. Blood sugar starts to rise, and unless the cycle is stopped, diabetes develops. You can be insulin resistant for years before your blood sugar numbers show a problem. That's why it catches so many healthy people off guard. They felt fine, they looked fine, but inside, their metabolism had been drifting toward dysfunction for a long time. Chapter 7. Normal weight, abnormal metabolism. Being at a normal weight doesn't mean your metabolism is normal. You could be walking around with normal weight, normal blood pressure, no obvious symptoms, and still have high fasting insulin, high triglycerides, and signs of a fatty liver. This is metabolically unhealthy normal weight, MUNW, another medical term for people who look fit but are at high risk for diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. It's not how you look, it's how you function. Chapter 8. Genetics versus lifestyle. Now, let's clear something up. Some people inherit genes that make them more insulin resistant. It runs in families, and that's real, but genes are not your destiny. Most of the time, genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. If your body is genetically wired to store more visceral fat or to be more sensitive to carb intake, then yes, you'll need to be more intentional. You might need more muscle, better sleep, lower stress, or lower sugar intake than your peers. But here's the good news. When you change your habits, your genes don't stop you. In fact, your body often responds better than you think. Chapter 9. What you can do right now. If you're healthy but worried about diabetes or already diagnosed, here's what you can do starting today. Get a body composition scan, DEXA, to measure visceral fat. Build muscle. Resistance training improves insulin sensitivity more than cardio. Cut ultra-processed foods. They spike insulin and encourage fat storage. Eat more fiber. It slows down sugar absorption. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. Poor sleep increases insulin resistance. Manage stress. Chronically high cortisol raises blood sugar. Move after meals. A 10-minute walk after eating helps regulate glucose. Track your waistline. Your waist-to-height ratio is a better diabetes risk predictor than BMI. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware and take action. So, why do healthy people get diabetes? Because healthy doesn't always mean metabolically sound. You can be lean, active, and still have too much internal fat. You can eat well and still have insulin resistance brewing quietly for years. But once you know, you're no longer blind. You can course correct. You can prevent further damage. You can reverse trends before they become diseases. Being lean on the inside is the goal. Looking good on the outside is just a bonus.